In the heart of the kingdom, where the sun dipped into the horizon and painted the sky with hues of crimson and gold, Prince Adeniyi stood on the balcony of the palace, gazing out at the bustling streets below. His mind wandered to the upcoming festival, where the people would gather to celebrate the gods' blessings. Adeniyi's thoughts were interrupted by the soft voice of his mother, Queen Amok. "Adeniyi, my son, your father calls for you." She smiled warmly, her eyes shining with a deep wisdom. Adeniyi followed his mother to the king's chambers, where his father, the king, sat on his throne, his eyes fixed on a small, intricately carved box. "My son," the king said, his voice weak but full of authority. "This box contains the golden mask, a symbol of our kingdom's prosperity and peace. It has been passed down through generations, and now, I entrust it to you." Adeniyi's eyes widened as he accepted the box, feeling a sense of pride and responsibility. As Adeniyi left the king's chambers, he couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. Meanwhile, in a dark, hidden corner of the palace, Uncle Oyekomi sneered as he watched Adeniyi walk by. He muttered to himself, "They think the golden mask's power will bring prosperity. Huh! It will bring me power, and I'll rule this kingdom." Oyekomi's eyes gleamed with ambition as he began to weave a web of deceit. He whispered lies to the king's advisors, fueling their doubts about Adeniyi's ability to lead. "The prince is too soft," Oyekomi would say. "He'll bring ruin to our kingdom." The advisors, already wary of Adeniyi's youth, began to question his suitability for the throne. Oyekomi smiled, knowing that with each whispered lie, he drew closer to his goal. As the days passed, King Obafemi's health began to decline rapidly. His once strong frame weakened, and his eyes lost their luster. Adeniyi visited his father daily, trying to find ways to lift his spirits. One evening, as Adeniyi sat beside his father's bed, the king's frail hand grasped his. "Adeniyi, my time is short. Promise me you'll protect the kingdom and the golden mask." "Your uncle, he's not what he seems." Adeniyi's grip tightened. "I promise, father. I'll do everything to keep our kingdom safe." The king's eyes closed, a faint smile on his lips. "I'm proud of you, son." With each passing day, the king's condition worsened. Oyekomi's influence grew, and the palace became divided. The king's condition took a turn for the worse, and Adeniyi stayed by his side, holding his hand. The queen sat on the other side, her eyes red from crying. With a weak but determined voice, the king called for the royal advisor to bring the golden mask. Adeniyi's heart ached as he watched his father's hands tremble while holding the mask. "My son," the king whispered, "you are the rightful heir. Protect our people, and may the gods guide you." With those final words, the king's eyes closed, and his chest stilled. Adeniyi felt a wave of grief wash over him. The queen stood up, her voice firm. "It's time. Adeniyi, you must take your place as the new king." Adeniyi nodded, his heart heavy with responsibility. He put on the golden mask, feeling its weight and power. As the news of the king's passing spread, the people gathered in the palace courtyard. Oyekomi stood among them, his eyes gleaming with ambition. Adeniyi stepped out onto the balcony, the golden mask shining on his face. "I swear to protect our kingdom and uphold our traditions," he declared, his voice ringing out. The people cheered, but Oyekomi's smile seemed to hide 1,000 secrets. Adeniyi faced numerous challenges as he navigated his new role. He had to balance his desire to make changes with the need to respect tradition. The queen mother offered guidance, but Adeniyi knew he had to make his own decisions. One of his first challenges was addressing the economic struggles of the kingdom. The previous king's policies had led to stagnation, and Adeniyi knew he needed to innovate. He called a meeting with his advisors, including Oyekomi, to discuss potential solutions. Oyekomi suggested measures that would benefit the wealthy elite, but Adeniyi knew this would only worsen the situation. "I propose we invest in agriculture and infrastructure," Adeniyi said. "This will create jobs and stimulate growth." Oyekomi's expression turned sour, but Adeniyi stood firm. After much debate, his plan was approved. As Adeniyi worked tirelessly to improve the kingdom, he faced opposition from various factions. He had to navigate complex politics, but he remained committed to his vision. One night, Oyokomi gathered his closest allies in a hidden chamber deep within the palace. "The king's decisions are weakening our kingdom," he said, his voice low and urgent. "We must take action to restore order." His allies nodded in agreement, and Oyokomi revealed his plan to manipulate the king's advisors and turn them against Adeniyi. "We'll make it seem like the king's policies are failing," Oyokomi said, a sly smile spreading across his face. "We'll turn the people against him, and then we'll strike." As Oyokomi's plan unfolded, Adeniyi began to notice strange whispers and gazes. He sensed danger lurking in the shadows, but he couldn't quite pinpoint the source. Eralu, ever vigilant, sensed Adeniyi's unease. "My king, what's troubling you?" she asked, her hand on the hilt of her sword. Adeniyi hesitated, unsure who to trust. "I don't know, Eralu. But I think someone's plotting against me." Eralu's eyes narrowed. "I'll investigate, my king. We'll uncover the truth." Eralu began her investigation, discreetly questioning palace staff and advisors. She noticed subtle inconsistencies in their stories and body language, leading her to suspect foul play. One night, while exploring the palace's hidden passages, Eralu stumbled upon a secret meeting between Oyokomi and his allies. She listened from the shadows, her hand on her sword. "The king's fate is sealed," Oyokomi said, his voice dripping with malice. "With him out of the way, I'll take the throne, and our kingdom will prosper under my rule." Eralu's eyes narrowed. She had heard enough. She crept back to Adeniyi's chambers, determined to warn him. "Adeniyi, my king," Eralu said, her voice low and urgent. "I've discovered evidence of treachery. Oyokomi's behind it. You must be careful." Adeniyi's expression turned grave. "Thank you, Eralu. I'll confront him," but Eralu cautioned, "Not yet, my king. We need solid proof. Let's gather evidence and catch him in the act." Adeniyi nodded, his mind racing with strategies. Adeniyi and Eralu worked together, gathering information and piecing together Oyokomi's plan. They spoke to trusted advisors and palace staff, collecting whispers and clues. One night, Eralu brought Adeniyi a crucial piece of evidence, a letter sealed with Oyokomi's symbol, detailing his plan to overthrow the king. Adeniyi's eyes widened as he read the words, his anger growing. "This is it," Adeniyi said, his voice firm. "We have enough proof. Let's confront him." Eralu nodded. "I'll bring him to you, my king. You can confront him in private." Adeniyi steeled himself for the confrontation, his heart pounding with anticipation. As they waited for Oyokomi to arrive, Adeniyi felt a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, and betrayal. He thought about his father's trust in Oyokomi and the pain of discovering his uncle's true intentions. Oyokomi arrived, his expression confident, but his eyes betraying a hint of nervousness. Adeniyi's eyes locked onto his uncle's, and Adeniyi's voice was calm, but his words cut deep. "Oyokomi, you've betrayed my trust and that of my father. Your ambition has consumed you, and you've brought this to our family." Oyokomi sneered, his confidence growing. "Adeniyi, you don't know what's best for this kingdom. I'm the one who truly understands what's needed to keep our kingdom strong." Adeniyi's anger flared, but he kept his composure. "You're not fit to rule, Oyokomi. Your love for power will pull down everything my father built. You're a danger to our people, and you will be held accountable." Oyokomi's face twisted with rage, and he took a step forward, but Eralu's presence checked him. "You'll pay for this, Adeniyi," Oyokomi spat. "You'll see the true meaning of power." Adeniyi's expression remained steadfast. "You're going to prison, Oyokomi. Your plans ends now." Oyokomi was taken away, his schemes and ambitions foiled. Adeniyi, with the council's agreement, removed him from his office titles and held him in custody. As Oyokomi was led out in chains, he shot Adeniyi a glance. Adeniyi stood tall, his expression unyielding. "The law applies to everyone," Adeniyi declared. "No one is above justice." The council and guards nodded in agreement. Oyokomi's fate served as a warning to potential double agents. With Oyokomi's attitude dealt with, Adeniyi focused on healing the kingdom. He worked to unite the people and strengthen the economy. The Queen Mother approached Adeniyi, her eyes shining with pride. "You're a true leader, Adeniyi. Your father would be proud." Adeniyi smiled, feeling a sense of purpose. "Thank you, Mother. I'll continue to work for our kingdom's prosperity." Adeniyi implemented various reforms to improve the kingdom's economy, education, and healthcare. He listened to the people's concerns and worked tirelessly to address them. The kingdom began to flourish under Adeniyi's leadership. Trade increased, crops grew abundant, and the people lived in peace. Adeniyi's popularity grew, and he became known as a wise and just king. Eralo remained by Adeniyi's side, protecting him and offering counsel. The Queen Mother continued to guide Adeniyi, sharing her wisdom and experience. One day, a group of foreign dignitaries visited the kingdom, impressed by its progress. They sought to form an alliance, and Adeniyi negotiated a mutually beneficial agreement. The kingdom's future looked bright, and Adeniyi felt proud of what he had accomplished. He knew there would be challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them. As the sun set on the kingdom, Adeniyi looked out upon his people, feeling a sense of hope and optimism. The kingdom's grand square was filled with people from all walks of life, gathered to celebrate Adeniyi's achievements. The air was electric with excitement and gratitude. Adeniyi stood on the stage, surrounded by the Queen Mother, Eralo, and other dignitaries. He looked out at the sea of faces, his heart full of pride and joy. The ceremony began with traditional music and dance, showcasing the kingdom's rich cultural heritage. Adeniyi's advisors and council members praised his leadership, highlighting his wisdom, compassion, and vision. The highlight of the ceremony was when the Queen Mother presented Adeniyi with a special award, recognizing his outstanding service to the kingdom. Adeniyi's eyes shone with tears as he accepted the honor. The celebration continued with feasting, singing, and merriment. Adeniyi mingled with his people, listening to their stories and sharing in their joy. As the night drew to a close, Adeniyi looked up at the stars, feeling grateful for the journey he had undertaken. He knew that he had made a difference, and that the kingdom would continue to thrive under his leadership. The ceremony ended with a grand finale of fireworks and music, illuminating the night sky and filling the hearts of the people with joy and hope. And so, Adeniyi's story came full circle, a testament to the power of courage, wisdom, and leadership. The END.